Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the True Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. If you're listening on the podcast streaming platforms, then hello there too. I am so happy to be back with another episode. I nearly didn't film or record today, and I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad I decided to just sit down and just think about what I want to say because it always makes me so happy and it always brings out my joy when I create content. And I always forget that. Well, I don't always forget that. Like, I know that it brings me so much joy, but sometimes, when you're feeling just overwhelmed and a bit burnt out, which is what today's episode is going to be all about. When you're feeling that way, it is so easy to just forget what brings you joy and to forget what you can do to actually bring yourself out of feeling that way. And it's easy to just fall into the habit of just sitting around and not wanting to do anything because you're feeling so overwhelmed and you're feeling burnt out. And I'm just there to tell you that you're not alone. If you've ever felt like that, if you've ever just gotten to action paralysis where you've got so much on your mind that you want to do that you end up doing nothing. It gets to the point where you end up doing absolutely nothing because there's just too much. There's too much on the brain. And that's how I've been feeling this week. And that was why I nearly didn't film this episode. This week has been a bit of just a low energy week. Nothing specific has happened, but I just have woken up and I've just not leaped out of bed and I've not been really, really excited, and I've felt just something is just not clicking right now. And that's okay. And I genuinely think that it's because of the phase in my cycle that I'm in. My menstrual cycle is, the menstrual phase is in full effect. And that does affect your energy level. The menstrual phase is the phase where we should be slowing down, giving our body the rest that it deserves. It is when we are feeling low energy and, we want to just hibernate and give our brains that chance to just reset. But I think it's also around this time that our brain starts to become a bit more analytical of everything. And that's definitely what's happened for me. I always, around my period, I don't know if anyone can relate, but I always get really I overthink everything. I start to get really bogged down thinking is this right? Does this make sense? Am I wording this right? Am I thinking the right things? Am I doing the right things? What is my purpose? I start questioning absolutely everything. And one thing that I really just want to start this episode off by saying is that it's so normal. It's normal to have phases where you're not feeling 100%. You're not giving yourself the love that you would so freely give to others 100% of the time. And you're not completely happy with your body and you're not completely confident in who you are. We are human beings. We are not robots. We can't flick a switch and everything be absolutely perfect and positive all the time. So if you have moments where you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling burnt out, you're feeling just drained and lacking energy, you are not alone, and it is completely and totally normal. And often it's a sign that your body is telling you to slow the fuck down. Slow down. It's something that's quite difficult to come to terms with, especially if you're like me and you always love being on the go, go, do this, do that, achieve this, do that. And I've always been this way. And it's something that I'm definitely working on, and I have been working on for ages, and I'm definitely a lot better in just practicing slowing down, practicing not having something on the go or 100% of the time, 24 hours a day, actually giving myself the rest and the time to process that my body just needs. That was a really long intro. It wasn't even really an intro. I was kind of already getting into it, but that was basically how I've been feeling this week. And today I wanted to talk about burnout and how to actually achieve your dream life and prevent burnout. Although I do believe that burnout is something that comes to everyone at some point. But it's about recognizing when it happens and being able to bring yourself back when it eventually does happen. Yeah, this week I've been feeling burnt out, but these are some practices that I am doing. No, I really just want to talk about discipline and motivation and why I no longer believe in either of them. Wild. So for years, literally years, and up until not even that long ago, I was like, discipline over motivation, because motivation is fleeting and discipline gets you the results that you want. But there's always been something that kind of like struck not quite right with me with discipline, because it still feels like you're being so harsh on yourself and you're like, discipline, discipline, discipline. And to me, that just doesn't feel right. And, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with having discipline. Like, I do genuinely think that discipline is good for achieving certain goals. But generally, to live a fulfilled and happy and peaceful existence, I want to add another thing into the mix here. Self-love. Now, hear me out. As soon as I focused on self-love instead of discipline, that was when I actually achieved goals. That was when I actually made the big shifts in my life. Because when you're acting from a place of self-love, you're caring for yourself, you're nurturing yourself, you're actually doing the things that make you happy because they make you happy and not because you feel like you have to do them. That's the thing with discipline. It's like, it's something, it feels like you have to do it because it's put into your schedule and so it's there and so you have to do it. When you act from a place of self-love, you're doing it because you love it. You're doing the things because they make you feel fulfilled and happy and excited for life. And that's what it's all about. So I no longer act from discipline. I no longer act from motivation. I act from a place of self-love. And that in itself is how we prevent burnout and how we actually achieve our dream life. So how do we recognize when you are feeling a bit burnt out? Well, I think, friends, if you have already, what's the word that I'm looking for? If you've already experienced burnout, you will know exactly what I mean. But being burnt out looks different for everyone. And for me, being burnt out, I have like the anxious feeling in my chest, like something just doesn't feel quite amazing. It doesn't feel quite clicked into place. And maybe it's that you're low in energy. Maybe it's that you have so many different thoughts going around your head that you just don't know which one to settle on. Maybe it's that you're overthinking everything and that you're questioning everything. And maybe it's that you just literally can't think of anything at all. Maybe it's that you just like, no thoughts are coming to my head, which is how I felt yesterday. I was talking to my mum and I was like, I just don't know what I'm doing. Like there were just no words, no words forming in my brain. And that is burnout. That is feeling overwhelmed. That is when everything is just coming at you from all different sides and you just don't know which route to take and you don't know what to respond to first and you just don't know. That is it. Like that feeling of just not knowing what is going on. That is burnout. So if you're feeling like that right now, then give yourself some love, give yourself some compassion, because that's how we're going to get through it. And the key to actually achieving your dream life is self-love. So, with that said, I want to talk about 5 things that you can do to offer yourself the most self-love every single day so that you can prevent burnout, so that you can bring yourself back from burnout, so that you can ultimately achieve the goals that you want to achieve in life, and to just generally feel more peace in your life, feel more joy, feel more freedom, and just feel like fulfillment. Just feel like life is actually good and happy and positive. So, number one, in showing yourself the most self-love to prevent burnout and to bring yourself back is, and the birds are talking to each other again outside of my window. So number one, make sure that every single day you do at least one thing that brings you immense joy. Making that promise to yourself, even if it's just making yourself a cup of tea. I know that cups of tea bring me joy, whether that is having a little dance party to yourself every single day. Maybe that is watching your favorite TV show. Maybe that is doing your hair. Whatever brings you the most immense joy, do that thing. Do one thing every single day, and that will show you a great amount of self-love. And through self-love breeds self-trust, and through self-trust brings the greatest confidence. Number 2 of how you can show yourself self-love to prevent burnout is give yourself a break. Give yourself some time off. Give yourself permission to just slow down and not do anything. That in itself is the greatest act of self-love. Knowing your body and knowing your mind enough to know that you need space. You need to just do nothing, not think about anything, and not do anything, not respond to anything. And a great way to do that is to get out into nature, to just disconnect, to not even listen to a podcast, not even listen to music, just completely switch off and listen and take in the sound of the birds, the dogs playing, the sound of the river, the sway of the trees, the feel of the ground underneath your feet. Just really center yourself and just reconnect with the earth and with yourself in the process. And that is a great act of self-love. Number 3 for how you can show yourself the most self-love is to stop with the self-criticism. To really notice when that criticism comes in, that inner critic that is so loud, especially when we're in a state of burnout. That is the time when the inner critic thrives, because the inner critic's existence is to try and protect us in the weirdest way possible. It tries to protect us from potential harm and from potential situations that would cause us danger. So when our body is in like overwhelm and like overthinking everything and questioning everything and burnout, that is when our inner critic is like, yes, it's my time to shine. It's my time to protect my body from just harming itself, and from like, it's time to protect my mind as well, to like stop doing these things that are bringing me danger and harm and all of this stuff. So that is why when you're in burnout and when you're like feeling quite low, that is why your inner critic is screaming. It's like, it's my time to shine. So now is the greatest opportunity to be like, shush now. Thanks for trying, but you're not serving me. I will not listen to you. So every time you judge yourself, you criticize yourself, you tear yourself down, just pause for a moment and think, I'm sorry. Like, I'm really sorry for speaking this way to you. You don't deserve it. And you're just trying to get me through this life. And instead switch it up to gratitude. Thank your body, thank your mind for everything that it allows you to do. Even though right now you're not feeling your best, you know that your mind and your body has got you to where you are today, and that is enough. And you know that you'll be back in fighting spirit like as soon as you possibly can. But right now, it's okay that you're having an off moment, and you will be back. So now is the greatest time to show yourself that kindness that you would show to a best friend. That's a great way to think about it when the critic comes in your inside world, in your inner world. Think, would I say this to a friend? Would I say this to a loved one? Would I say this to a child? Would I say this to my inner child? And if not, what would I say instead? So stop the judgment in its tracks. Number 4, forgive yourself. Offering yourself forgiveness for all of the criticism, for all of the questions that are running through your head. Forgive yourself for having this moment of burnout. It's not something that you need to apologize for. Like, it's absolutely not. But forgive yourself for telling yourself that it is a bad thing, if that makes sense. Because we tell ourselves that we're failing. We tell ourselves that we're doing really badly and that everything is going wrong when we're in a state of burnout. Forgive yourself for talking to yourself like that. It's okay that you're in a state of burnout. It's okay that the inner critic has responded in that way. But we can choose a different narrative. We can get out of that mindset, and we can move forward in a more positive and helpful way. Number 5, surround yourself with energy and people that light you up instead of tear you down. Surround yourself with positive light and brightness. And a way that you can do that is by following people that inspire you and lift you up, and joining memberships that will support you and encourage you. And you can watch YouTube videos that, bring you joy. You can listen to visualizations and meditations that get you into that state of just feeling true joy and happiness. Even though you might not feel like it right now, I promise you that getting yourself into the room and into those vibrations will in turn raise your vibrations as well. And a final thing to note and to remember when you're feeling burnt out is to not try and rush. Don't try and rush the process of getting out of burnout. Because the more you try to rush it, the less likely you will be able to get out of it. And you are capable of getting out of it. But don't rush it. Give your body and your mind the time that it needs to actually process everything, to actually just switch off. I urge you to go and do something that has nothing to do with what you're feeling burnt out about. I urge you to completely switch off from that, because your brain will still be processing everything, no matter what. Like, your brain will still be thinking subconsciously about everything that you're doing, but your conscious brain needs a distraction. And then when you come back to thinking about whatever it is that you're burnt out about, you will feel so much better, because your brain will have had that time to just process the information slowly but surely and come back to an empowered state and come back to certainty. So take all the time that you need in any way that you can, and show yourself these 5 simple stages of self-love. And yeah, that is today's episode and video. I hope that you found this interesting and that it made sense. I feel like It was a little bit all over the place, so I apologize, but that is okay. And yeah, if you take anything away from this video, is to be kind to yourself, to show yourself the love that you would so freely give to others, and to surround yourself with people that lift you up and inspire you and show themselves the love that you want to show yourself, because we are a product of who we surround ourselves with. So with that said, come and hang over on Instagram. I'm launching something really, really soon that will just be so empowering and so great for building community and for feeling a part of something that just feels like home and feels like you can just be your truest version of you and accept yourself exactly as you are. So yeah, have a lovely rest of your week. Well, it's probably Friday when I'm uploading this, so have a lovely weekend and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye, everyone.